Welcome to Cariboo Country Lifestyle. My name is Cheryl and we are going to be planting today. I've already planted all of my tomatoes, and since I planted all of my tomatoes, of course, guess what happened? Hit with hail. Thank goodness that Jamie noticed it was going to be hailing, and all my tomatoes that I planted in pots on the deck, he pulled them too close to the house so they wouldn't get pelted with the hail. He said, of course, he got pelted with hail, but those plants didn't. The ones that are in my raised beds out here in the garden area, a couple lost some leaves, but on the most part, I planted 20 tomatoes out here in my raised beds. There are 4 tomato plants in each raised bed of the ones that I planted, and those are the ones that are my indeterminate ones that I put out here. And what that means is that they grow an indeterminate height. So I am staking them, I am heavily pruning them, and that's why I have these ones out here in the raised beds. And I have cattle panels attached to T-posts so that I can support those plants and tie them on there. And so I have, I think, 2 or 3 tomato plants that I have to replace. So out of 20, that's pretty good. I didn't lose a whole heck of a lot. So today and tomorrow, we are going to be planting all of my plants. I'm hoping to have that include flower plants as well, but definitely all my vegetable plants. To start, I am going to be watering all of my raised beds first before I plant anything, and then that way the ground will be nice and moist for my new plants to be planted in. So let's get watering. I ended up having to reseed my shorter variety of snap peas. So I did that, I would say probably a week ago. And I noticed that I have a couple of sprouts coming up, so that's good. I'm glad to see that. Hasn't rained in a couple of days, so I couldn't rely on the rain this time. It's rained so much, and I'm not complaining because we needed the rain. And it sure has brightened things up. The grass looks amazing. My garden beds are doing really well. Good start to our growing season. So definitely want to give all of these beds a good watering before I start planting. And then in the end, after I'm done planting everything, then we'll do a little bit of a tour, do our first garden tour, and I can show you everything that's going on. We're supposed to get to 25 degrees Celsius or better. Yesterday was supposed to get to 20, and it actually was 23 degrees Celsius yesterday. This weekend we are also installing another long bed down below, so Jamie is going to pick up some more garden soil because I don't have enough, and we're going to mix it with our compost, and we're going to make another long bed down below. So that's super exciting because that's where I'm going to be planting a lot of my squash down there. I have quite a few squash plants, and I've got a couple of new ones and some old ones. So it's going to be a good weekend for planting. Okay, we have the watering done. Now it's time to go get my plants, and they're down over in the dog's kennel area. So we'll just go down there. It's such a beautiful day. It's supposed to be absolutely beautiful for today and tomorrow. So, and it's the weekend. I can get I'm hoping to get all of my planting done this weekend. So we will start grabbing our trays of plants and take them to the designated areas that they need to be. Most of my plants are going up in the raised bed garden area, but I'll leave my flowers until after I've planted all my vegetable plants. Okay, so these are all my peppers, and we'll take those up. I'm also going to I have 2 tomato plants that I have to replace. One is the Old German, and the other one is the Sun Gold cherry tomato. That's a new variety that I've never done before. So I'm gonna make sure I grab that as well. So this is my poor, pathetic Sun Gold. It's like snapped right off. I'm just going to pull out this plant, and I'm going to replace it with that Sun Gold plant instead. I'm just going to grab a shovel to dig a hole for this tomato plant. Okay, and I want it right under this panel because I have a couple of rows of carrots in front, and then I have beets on the other side in behind. I'm just going to pluck off these bottom branches off of this tomato plant, and I am going to plant it up to the next set of leaves. Push that down. I did add fertilizer to this spot when I was planting my first Sun Gold tomato, so I'm not going to add any more fertilizer because it's already in the dirt. Okay, so there we go. Replaced. Here's the poor little Old German that's leaves are all limp and everything. So I'm just going to pull this right out. This dead plant will go in my compost. Dig a hole. Pluck off the bottom leaves. Put it right in my hole. I was lucky I had one more Old German plant. And then I'll just bring this soil back in right up to the bottom of the plant, planting it as deep as I can, and there we go. Replaced. If anything happens to this now, I'm not going to be able to replace it with another Old German because that's all I have. I have quite a few pepper plants that I'm going to be planting, and most of them are going to be going in front of my tomato plants. And what I want to do, because I don't have a greenhouse, is I'm going to use these cozy coats. This is just my chart of where I'm putting everything. So I'm going to use these cozy coats. Now I bought these ones I purchased through Lindenberg, and then I bought a case of, I think there was 100 that I bought a case of. There's some people riding by on horses along this road. My dog hasn't heard them yet, but I'm sure once she hears them talking, then she's going to start barking because that's what she does. Okay, So what I'm going to do is, these are super easy. I use this planter, and that's just to hold the sides up, because I'm going to fill each one of these slots with water. And then over time, I'm just going to get this started. Well, if I could turn this on. Over time, this water, when the sun is on it, it heats up the water. Pardon me. And then when the water heats up, it's like its own little mini greenhouse. So it's quite, oh my gosh, it's quite warm and humid. And that's exactly what the peppers like. Peppers like heat. So I'm going to fill up all these little slots, and I'm going to be planting 8 or maybe 12 pepper plants here in the garden. So you just fill in each of these little tubes that holds the water. And then I'll show you what it looks like once we plant the pepper plant, sorry. My dog is getting wet, but she doesn't seem to want to move. So funny, because I have a spray bottle that I use, so when she barks, I don't really like a barky dog, so I have a spray bottle in the house, and I use that, and I give my dog a shot of water. Okay, so now we're going to go over and we'll plant some pepper, and I'll show you what that's going to look like. Over here I am going to plant some Big Bertha peppers, and those are the first I'm going to start. And so I have tomatoes in behind. Looks like I'm going to have to replace one of my Aunt Ruby's German green, because that one's looking kind of sad too, but I can do that, no problem. Okay, so I'm going to plant this Big Bertha in here. I'm also going to add some fertilizer, and this is an all-purpose organic fertilizer. It's only a 4-4-4 ratio, and I am going to put that in the bottom of this hole. I will add my plant. I'm going to put my marker way over here, because once I put the dome on top of it, then you wouldn't even see what the type of what the variety was. Okay, and we'll put my pepper in here, mount the dirt back up. Oh, see a little baby earthworm. Good morning, earthworm. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my Cozy Coat and put that over top of this plant. So I just pick the whole thing up, put it over my plant, and then I'll move it around. And then that'll protect the plant from the elements. So if it hails again, that pepper plant is going to have some protection. So now we'll go to the next one. I thought I'd be able to have them a little closer. Oh, I probably could. I'm trying to get 4 in here, and I didn't think I was going to have enough room. But I can plant this one a little bit closer to this one. I might be able to get 4 in here. Add my fertilizer. And then I will fill up another tag there. I'll fill up another cozy coat and add that in here as well. So I will be able to get 4 pepper plants, so that's great. Another earthworm. Glad to see that the earthworms are hanging out. Okay, and then I will fill up another one and put it over this one. Fortunately, I didn't have another Aunt Ruby's German green, so instead I'm going to plant a black crim. So that's unfortunate. I'm just going to pluck off these bottom leaves. But I have so many other varieties that are good varieties of tomatoes too, that this one will be a good replacement. So there we go. And I'll show you what this looks like. So there's my black crim. Better put my tag in there or I'm not gonna remember. So this one, this first pepper plant, that is this is the California Wonder. So that one is planted. And then the next 3 are the Big Bertha. I'll just keep these on these peppers until they are very well established, and then I will take the cozy coats off. So they're just acting like a mini greenhouse for my peppers until my peppers are really nice and full, and once they've started flowering, then I'll take the cozy coats off, and then it'll be pretty hot by then, so it gives them a really good start. Okay, so I showed you here, this is where I planted my California Wonder and the 3 Big Berthas there. Over here I ended up planting my cayenne at that end and another cayenne pepper at this end. Over on this side, these cozy coats, I have had these they're more pink than they are red. I have had these ones for probably at least 15 years. There are a couple of the columns. This one here, there's a hole in it and it won't fill with water. I do have replacement tubes that you can slide to the inside of that and refill it with water. It's just if you have any that are damaged. I went looking for them and I couldn't find them, but I'm sure they're in my garden shed somewhere. These 4 here are the sweet banana peppers, and these 3 here, these are the shishito peppers, and I planted them in amongst my garlic because my garlic is going to be picked the middle of July. Okay, so I have here 6 jalapenos, and I'm planting them in these planters to put on my deck, and I'm going to put 3 in each planter. I picked my nicest jalapenos. I got quite a few. So first I'm going to fill this up with the garden soil. I should have got a bigger shovel. Why do I say this? Last time I didn't even have a shovel at all, but I should have got a bigger shovel. Okay, so I'll put a layer of garden soil in each. Bring this one a little closer. And Jamie's getting me another load of garden soil to do the raised bed at the back, and also to do all my flower planters. Because I've got pots, hanging baskets, all of that. I also have my bucket of compost. So I will do a layer of compost. I am going to shake this in because that is just quicker. And then another layer of the garden soil over top. It's quicker to use my hands, apparently. Okay, almost full. A little bit more in here. This is pretty wet. It's rained so much in the last little while, but now we're on to some warm temperatures. So super stoked about that. Okay, I will put one pepper on this side. And I'm just gonna put one in the middle. This one has a tag, so I'll stick the tag in here, then I know. These are the only peppers that are going on my deck anyway, so I don't think I would get things confused, but better to be on the safe side. Okay, and my last one in here. We have my fur grand puppy, Cole, is here visiting for the weekend. His dad went camping, and I wondered why he didn't take him, but he said it's going to be too hot, and Cole is an Alaskan Malamute, so he doesn't do well with the heat. He definitely likes the cooler weather, so my son decided that he should come and spend the weekend with Grandma. So I have Cole until tomorrow, sometime tomorrow. They're camping just at one of the lakes that's not too far from where we live. I think it's about an hour away. It's Fur Lake, he said. And they're doing a birthday party with some friends, so it's going to be beautiful for that too. Okay, we are finished planting my peppers. I'm going to put these peppers up onto my deck. Hi, we're back. We're on day 2. I am in the bottom part of my garden. This is where we have 3 long raised beds, no dig. And so far, what I've put here in the front, closest to the gate, this is my cabbage, and my cauliflower didn't do as well as I had hoped, so I found some cauliflower plants down at one of the nurseries in town here. So I'm going to put my cauliflower in here. Once I get these cauliflowers planted, then I also today I want to put my hoops up and put my netting to protect all my brassicas from the cabbage moths, those cute little white butterflies that everybody thinks they're so cute. They're not cute. I started some purple sprouting broccoli, and I did a Scorpio cabbage and a Lenox cabbage, and I put them out. We got 3 bouts of hail in one day, and I was at work, so I wasn't home to put them under cover, and they ended up, the hail just decimated my plants. So these cabbage, I don't even know what variety they are. I had them given to me, and at this point it doesn't matter to me. I'm just picking out these stupid pine cones. I am so sick of seeing pine cones. So let's get started, and we'll plant my cauliflower, and we'll see where we're at as far as how far we go. This is a snow crown cauliflower. I had an early white cauliflower, and I also had the cheddar cauliflower. So unfortunately, we will not be planting those. And I couldn't find, it's getting to the point that a lot of the nurseries are blowing out their plants now because they're going to be closing down soon. But I went to places like Canadian Tire, Walmart. I got these cauliflower at Walmart. So at least I was able to get some cauliflower. So that's good. But it's unfortunate that I lost the cauliflowers that I started myself, because I had cheddar cauliflower last year and it did amazing in this back bed here. So I've checked my paper of my diagram of where I'm planting everything, and I'm just going to give this a little bit more space. And then I'm going to come through after I'm done planting everything, and I'll give it a good drink of water. And then we'll put my hoops up and put my netting to protect my plants. This one's not a very big one, this cauliflower, so we'll see if it makes it. Jamie and Austin did up my third raised bed in the back here, and it's probably only about 29 feet by 3 feet, so that's still pretty good. Okay, mashed potato squash. Get out the pine cones, put one here. Last year in this spot I actually planted cabbage, my Scorpio cabbage. And these mashed potato squash, these are ones that I started inside, so they did all right. And I had these ones out when it was hailing, but I think the difference was that these were closer to being up against the house, and so they had more protection. And these are not a very big trailing plant, so I don't have to worry about them ending up over in amongst the potatoes. But these other squashes, they will be. The pumpkin that I started was a spirit pumpkin, and it is more of a bush variety. So when I went looking for another pumpkin plant, I was trying to get something that wasn't going to sprawl out. And so I got like a mini pumpkin variety. So maybe we'll go and plant my butternut squash, and we'll plant the pumpkin. So here's my spirit pumpkin. This one, the leaf is all curled up, and that could be from the frost. This one got kind of pulverized, or not the frost, sorry, from the hail. This one doesn't even have a leaf on it at all. I think it's growing upside down. I'm just not exactly sure what the heck's going on with that. But these pumpkin plants that I just got, this is called a small sugar pumpkin. So what I'll do is I'll put one sugar pumpkin here, then I'll put this spirit pumpkin in the middle, and then I'll put the other sugar pumpkin on the other side, and we'll see what happens. And then I've got some Span Cross hybrid corn seeds that I want to use up the last of those, get those done. So these are really nice pumpkin plants compared to my pathetic little pumpkin plants. And I am going to just split this up the best that I can. These guys did such a good job. This is garden soil and compost mixed together. So these plants are going to love this. So I'll put in my pathetic looking pumpkin and we'll, like I say, see what happens. I'm going to plant this one that looks like it's growing upside down too, and we'll see what ends up happening with that. Could be a whole lot of nothing. But hey, you never know. And then I'll just push. Those seeds are still in there. They didn't even sprout. Okay, and then we'll put this other small sugar pumpkin on this side. And at least I know 2 of these pumpkin plants are going to do something. And then we'll plant my corn seeds in amongst these pumpkins. I probably got about a dozen seeds here. I'm just going to put 3 there. There, kind of planting them in blocks, going on the front and the back of this pumpkin. The soil is really nice and warm. And then I'll go in between. I planted them in blocks like this last year and they did really well. Maybe I'll put some on this side. Okay, and then we'll go to the other side and we will plant the butternut squash. The only thing about this new bed is I don't have a lot of space on this side of the fence. Like I can just walk along here, so I definitely won't be having a wheelbarrow coming through this side of the fence. But that's okay as long as I can get around it. I've got a couple of big rocks here. I'm just going to throw those over the fence. So these are my butternut squash. I had 3 plants out of it, so I'll stick a tag here and a tag here. Plant these in here. Last year I planted butternut squash and they just basically, I put them in the ground and a few days later they just shriveled up and died. So I don't know what happened there. Once I plant these, I think I've got some milk jugs and maybe I'll put the milk jugs over them for some protection until they get established. This one's pretty puny, so it will definitely need some protection on it. And the milk jugs, I've just cut the bottom off of it and then I take the top off so it still gets some airflow in here, but it protects the plants themselves. And this variety of corn, this is a Sunny V corn and it has 60 days to maturity. So that's a fairly short season corn. So hopefully these ones will work out well, and I'll just plant them all around and in amongst my butternut squash. And I like the idea that they're only 60 days, because that doesn't take long, 2 months. That's nothing at all to have to wait. And I'm planting these a good 6 inches apart from each other. I'm gonna have to go on the other side. Ugh. The back tabs on my pants keep catching on the fence, and I'm afraid I'm gonna fall over. So I'm just gonna come around to this side and plant the rest of these corn seeds. Okay, I think that should be good. I think I'll put my candy roaster squash in here. They're quite an oblong shaped squash and long oblong shape, whereas the bonbon are just your regular squash shape. They're not big huge ones like the candy. I'm gonna go grab the candy roaster squash. And maybe what I'll do is I got 4 plants, and I'll just space them out throughout this whole bed. Right in the middle. Put one here. I hope these do well. I've heard good things about these. And I'll put the other one right about here. That's probably about 4 feet from my pumpkins. And I think with this compost mixed with the garden soil, I won't have to worry about fertilizing. They are a heavy feeder, so I can add fertilizer halfway through the season, or even a couple of times throughout the season. Okay, and here we have the bonbon squash. This is my cauliflower here, and my mashed potato, so we don't quite have the same amount of space that we had over there for the candy roasters, but there's not much I can do about that. So these are definitely going to get planted closer together. This was where I planted it was some kind of a mystery squash plant that Jamie's Uncle Peter had given us, and that's what I was calling it, Uncle Peter squash, because I couldn't pronounce the name that it was. And then I'm going to get my I'm going to plant this a little bit closer to here because I don't have as much space. And I have to give myself enough room to get the hoop over here without affecting my squash too. So I got to give myself enough space to get my hoops up. So I'm going to go grab my water and give these plants a good drink of water. So I think that's it for my planting as far for today. I've gotten a few things ready so that I can plant during this week. Just mostly my flowers now. I think I'm pretty much finished as far as vegetables go, but let's take a look and I'll show you what we've put in, where things are growing and what we have going on. A little bit of a garden tour. Okay, so we'll start over here. These little sprouts right there, this is my Chinese toi choy, and these are just little sprouts. It's like baby bok choy, and they grow really fast. So I like to have a few on the go, a few different rows on the go. It's great for succession sowing. In the back, I replanted my peas, and I have quite a few little sprouts coming in all the way down. This is the only one that grew, but since I've planted, I've got quite a few little sprouts. These here in front, these are my onions, and they are coming along pretty good. I haven't seen any that have not made it as of yet. I did plant a few zinnias, and in the middle here, this is where I planted my gold zucchini. So I just planted the seed, and I should see something coming up within the next week. There I have in the back a couple of fennel plants. We'll see how that goes. I have some more fennel plants that I should plant, and I'm just going to try and find a spot where I can plug some more in. Here is my fern leaf dill that's coming up. And these are my asparagus ferns coming up. In the middle here in the back, that is the cilantro that I planted. And this is where I had the fern leaf dill last year, and it has reseeded itself and coming up there, so that's awesome. This is the other cilantro that I planted in front of that pink little tag. Got a couple of little sprouts there. There's my rosemary, my thyme, and in the back I've planted a few sunflowers that I had started in the house. Some are the color fashion. In the middle with that blue tag, that is my green zucchini that I've put the seeds in there, so we'll just wait for that to come up. This is the little sprouts here. This is the China gold cabbage. I was going to put cauliflower in here, but I decided to put the China gold cabbage up here. Then in behind where this pink tag is, all across here, I have planted edamame beans, and they're pretty old seeds, so I don't know if I'm going to get anything coming up as far as that goes. This here is the French breakfast radishes. This is my second row that I've planted. My other French breakfast radishes are pretty much ready to start picking. And then here, these are the China rose radishes. Beside that is the Swiss chard, the rainbow Swiss chard. Over here I have a couple of little sprouts of leeks. And then beside the leeks I went and planted some royal burgundy beans. So just put the seeds in the ground. This here, that is... which one is this? This is the Joker sunflower. I planted two, but the other one, it wasn't looking very good when I put it in there, so I didn't have a whole lot of hope for that. In the front here, this is my Hakiri salad turnips growing. And then in behind, I just planted these. and I bought some. So these little sprouts here, this is my sweet slice cucumber. And then I bought a couple of Market More cucumbers, and this is the other sweet slice cucumber. Hence the reason why I bought some, because I don't have a lot of faith in that little one there. And then here are some more of my leeks growing there. They're doing well. In this bed, this is the Goldfinger carrots. Got my little sprouts are coming in there. So they're doing pretty good. In the back here, I ended up planting some more beans in here. And I think these are the dragon tongue bush beans that I've planted in here. I put a tag there, but that's not the tag because it says plain leaf parsley, and I know that I planted beans in here. So let's come over on this side. This is the Danver half-long carrots, and I have thinned these ones out, but they're coming along really nicely. And then in behind, these are my spaghetti squash, and these are the ones that I started. So we'll see how it goes. They kind of got beaten up a little bit by the hail. And then once they get going, I'll have them climbing up this panel. I've done that before and it actually worked out quite well. Over here on this side, this is the dwarf green curled kale. And then I have a couple of rows of the bull's blood beets. Those burgundy little sprouts. Over on this side, this is the natural Toscano kale, the dinosaur kale. And then here, these are the Scarlet Nanty carrots. And I have been kind of thinning these out. Every once in a while I'll see that there's a few pretty close together, so I've been thinning them out. There's a little clump there. So here's where I planted my chocolate sprinkles. It's a cherry tomato. Drew a blank there. This is the natural black cherry tomato. And then these two are the Sun Gold cherry tomato. Cute little marigold in between. I got another marigold in between those two. And this is the one I had to replant because it got pretty beaten up by the hail. In this bed, these are my cylinder beet sprouts going along there. This is another row of the Hikuri salad turnips. I thought these were the Chinese toi choy, but they're not. That's the Hikuri salad turnips. So that's my second row of those. In here are the pickling cucumbers. Now these are the ones that I started, and then I bought 2 more today and plunked those in there too. Just because I didn't have very many. And I just never know how well they're going to fare out. At this end, I have planted the Sunburst patty pan squash, and that will be right in here. I planted about 5 seeds, and then once they sprout, then I will pick out my best 3 plants. Here are my celery. And these are the volunteer annual bunching green onions that have reseeded themselves. Over here, these ones here are the sparkler white tip radish. And they are getting almost to the point where I can start picking those. Along here, this is my white kohlrabi. Behind the kohlrabi, I have some more celery plants. And then that in the middle is a volunteer garlic. This is the French breakfast. See there, I have one that I have a couple that I could be picking. Here are my golden beets. Now these, I ended up reseeding them because I didn't see a whole heck of a lot of the sprouts coming up. So I ended up reseeding some of that. In behind there, these are my pole snap peas. And it looks like I might have to get a couple more in here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 shoots and nothing else. So I think I might end up reseeding those again. Over here, this is the Butter Crunch lettuce. It's looking really good. And then I have the rutabagas planted in here. Quite a few sprouts now coming up. I was starting to wonder if they were going to do anything. This is the first row of the Chinese Toi Choy that I planted, and it's almost ready to pick. Like, it's just a baby bok choy. In behind are my tomatoes, and this is the one I replanted. That's the black Krim. Beside the black Krim is my Aunt Ruby's German green. In behind this one, this is a black Krim, and that one is a black Krim as well. And then in these cozy coats, I have the Big Bertha pepper plants. And this one on the end right here, that is a California Wonder pepper plant. In this cozy coat, this is a Cayenne pepper plant. In front of the Cayenne, this is my countryside spinach. And that's coming up really nice. Then this is the romaine lettuce that I reseeded, and I've thinned it out, and that's coming along a lot better than my first planting of that. And if we come around to this side, these two tomatoes are the New Girl tomatoes, and beside them are the Amish paste tomatoes. Then where that red tag is, all along here, I've planted the tender green beans, and I planted those by seed, so those should be coming up pretty soon. Here in my circular bed, I just planted this basil today. I just picked that up. But I have my chamomile. That's coming up really nice. This here is the borage, and I have a volunteer borage right here. And then I have the curled leaf parsley, the flat leaf parsley, and then I have some of my Asiatic lilies that are coming up in behind there. That taller one, that is the monk's hood. I got that plant from my sister. There's my lavender, and then I have a lily, and I also have here, this is carnations coming up that I planted those last year. Okay, over here I have planted my Gold Rush beans. So this is just a bush yellow bean, and I planted that all the way across this side. This tomato, Cherry Roma, a yellow pear, a sweetie cherry tomato, and this one is the mystery tomato. It's the seed that I had given to me by a friend that is doing her own spin on her own tomato seed. In these cozy coats, this is the shishito pepper, my red Russian garlic, more shishito pepper, and the last of the shishito peppers. Over here, I have the sweet banana peppers. An eeny weeny tiny one there, and another tiny one there. In behind, this is the old German tomato that I ended up replanting. I have another one over here behind this cozy coat. And then these tomatoes here are the Carnival Blend. And that's from the Brandywine family. And I have another one right there. In behind here, this is a volunteer onion that has come up. And these carrots here, this is the Bolero, the pelleted Bolero carrots. And I only have a few that have just, I have a little sprout here, another one there. They're just starting to come. This is the 3 rows that I have in the back down below my raised bed garden area. I just planted these brassicas. So this poor little cabbage plant, that's my Scorpio cabbage. That little poor little plant, that's the Lenox cabbage. And then these are the cabbage plants that I had given to me. And look at this. I got a cutworm. It's eating my stinking plants. Look at that ugly thing. Throwing that over the fence. Already, this is why I need protection. There's another little cabbage plant, so that one's is a goner. Oh, that's unfortunate. Here are the cauliflower that I just planted. This is the snow crown cauliflower. I have 6 plants of that. This was the smallest, so we'll see how that goes. Then in here, this is where I planted my bonbon squash. And these are plants that I started. And then I have my mashed potato squash. Here are all my potatoes. I have 31 potato plants. And we go from the late season variety all the way down to the mid to late season variety, early variety, and another early variety. I can't see what the tags are, so I think I'm going to have to make tags so that I can see it, and then I can just tell you what it is, because I can't see the writing on those tags. Then over here are the pumpkins that I just planted. We have, pardon me, the small sugar pumpkin. That's these bigger established plants here. And then these little ones, these are the spirit pumpkins that I started. The corn that I planted in amongst these, this is the Span Cross hybrid corn that I've planted in around these pumpkins. This is the Candy Roaster squash. And then down here at the butternut squash side, these are the Sunny V corn that I planted all around the butternut squash. Over here I have my dirt ready, and these are going to be all my planters that I'm going to be planting my flowers in. I have all these calibrachoas to split up and plant. They will probably be going in my hanging basket, and I have another big planter that I want to put on my deck. These are all the tomatoes I have left over. Some of my geraniums. These are the jalapeno peppers that I have left over. And then in behind, I have one shishito pepper and one cayenne pepper. And I'm just going to keep these just in case I happen to lose any of my pepper plants that I planted. These are my cosmos, and then in behind that is the osteospermum mixed colors. Then over here, this is the fennel that I started, Dusty Miller. These are the hollyhocks, the Niagara. It's a black colored flowers on them. I have some verbena, a bunch of marigolds in the back, my snapdragons in front of my marigolds, got some petunias, some eggplant. The mock orange doesn't look very good since I brought it outside, and then a whole bunch more of geraniums. I got to get these all planted. Like, this stuff just needs to be planted. Okay, there you have it. That is all I'm planting for today. It was day 2, and this is the end of the day for my planting. I have this week that I'm going to be working. I've got all my vegetables in, so that is really my main focus over the weekend, was getting my vegetables in. Now I'm going to start working on getting my flowers planted. I have a couple of trays of flowers over in the raised bed garden, and those ones I actually want to plant around my circular bed, and those are going to go in each of those curved pavers that have the hole in the center. I've got some trailing lobelia, I have some portulaca. I'm going to be putting some mini snapdragons in there. They don't get very big. And I have some stalks that I'm going to be putting in there as well. So that's really, it's just focusing on flowers now. So I'm going to go. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you had a wonderful weekend. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.